Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's RM's Tech here. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you Figma, how to become a UI UX designer. You don't need a prior experience to get started on this journey. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome to this channel. Please consider subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell. And if you're an existing subscriber, thank you for tuning in. So today I'm going to be creating a crash course on Figma. I'm going to be teaching you almost all the environment, and we're going to be designing some fill screens. You can check my previous video on UI UX design, but today I'm going to be creating a new crash course and some new design trend for 2023. So now let's get started. So first of all, what is UI UX design? UI UX design is just a design where you can design an interface of either a mobile app, a website, or a system. So this is what I mean. Before a app is being designed, a user visual representation is being designed first. So this is an example of what a UI design is. This is an app for a chat. So this is being designed in Figma. So these are all the process for that is needed in the design. First of all, we have the sign up screen for the first timer, which is your phone number. So if I click on continue, it's going to function perfectly. So this is how we want the developer to design this mobile app. So your job as a UI designer is to design the physical representation, the graphic look, and how it feels, the interaction, how it feels. So what we have here is verification. So definitely when the developer is been working on these projects, he's going to follow all this process. So if I click on continue now, it's very interactive and it is working. So when I click on continue, what we want to see after that page is your setup screen where you can input your name or your username for the system. So if I click on finish setup now, this is how we want our app to look. So as a UI designer, you will be the one to design the physical representation, how everything is going to work and how it's going to feel. If I scroll up here, you can see this how the status bar looks. You see, this is how we want it to look. We want to have a search screen, a logo, and the chat icon. If I click on this chat over here, it's going to look like this. So this is how we want our developer to work on the system. So, and also if I click down on this story, this is how we want our story to look like, where we can scroll, we can add, and we can also view people's status, something like this. This is a picture of me and I designed this system for this tutorial. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you from start to finish. You don't need a prior experience. I'm going to be taking it from scratch. You don't have to design these charts, but we'll be designing something that will get you started in 2023. So if you're considering becoming a UI designer in 2023, this is the best video for you. So you can consider checking my previous video to learn more about UI design, but in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you as a starter. So now let's get started. So head over to figma.com and sign in with your Google account. So now I'm signing, and all you just have to do is create a new design file. So this is the first interface you're going to see on the system. So it's actually free. Figma is free. So all you just have to do is click on new design file and you will be inside the system. You can download Figma to your Windows laptop or your Mac laptop, or just consider using it on your browser. It's more convenient and more cool that way. So I'm going to be explaining all these toolbars over here so you get to know the environment. So we're going to be starting from the left hand side. So over here, what we have here is the toolbars. We have under file, we have new design file. These are just normal thing. And under edit, in case you want to copy anything or you want to find something, you can go over here. If you want to view some other stuff, you can come over here. And below it, we have layers and we have assets. So if, in case you created a asset, you're going to be able to see the assets here, but we'll get there. So the next thing we have here is the move icon and the scale icon. So most of the time you'll be using this move. And for these, this is the frame. If you're designing anything for any system, if I click on this frame right now, I'm going to be able to select the kind of screen I want to work on. Let's say I want to design for a mobile app. So I'm going to choose iPhone 14 Pro Max. So this is a frame for iPhone 14 Pro Max. On under this frame, there's a properties. So we'll get there. So I will delete this now. If I go back to the frame, I can also design for a website. So if I click on this, I'll go to desktop and I'll be able to choose the kind of stuff I want to design. So let's say I want to design for a website. I'm going to choose on desktop. You see, it just generates it for me. I'm going to be explaining these properties for you soon. So if we move over below the frame we have sections and we have slice. We'll talk about this later. So let's move forward. What we have here is what we'll be using most of the time. These are your tools bar. You'll be using rectangle most of the time, lines, arrow, ellipse, polygon. Most of these tools you'll be using them most of the time. What we have here is the pen tool. You can use it to curve most of the time, and you always use the text. There's no design without text, so you'll be using this text toolbar most of the time. And these are comments and these are hand tool. So over here is where you can title your project. So I'm going to double tap on it and type this UI Design Crash course 2023. So you click on enter and you have set the title of your project. So I'm going to be explaining on this right hand side of the pin. So what we have here is the design. We can change the background of our design view. We can change it to white background, and I love it to leave it black because of my eye. So in the prototype place, we'll be talking on this as we are designing it further, but the prototype is the visual representation where you can play. And at the top of here, you can either share your design or you copy the link. Anytime you want to run your prototype, you click on this play icon and it's going to run the prototype. So all we also have here is either the portrait mode or the landscape mode. So as you can see, if I click on, but we'll be working on the portrait mode if you're working on mobile app. So that is it for that. So now I'm going to be explaining what property is. So let's say we want to design a mobile app screen. So if I click on the frame and I go to phone and I choose iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is the current phone out now, if I click on this and I go back to design, I'll be able to see the properties for all this. So any tools that you click on, you'll be able to see the properties at the right hand side. So I'll be explaining some of the properties for you. So what this W means width. If I type on this and I type 500, it's going to increase the width for me. For the height, if I type 15, it's going to increase the height for me. So that is it. And clip to content is to match something together. Auto layout will be talking about it in other video. So the fill icon is where you can set your colorization or your color. So I can change this color background of this particular frame to any color I wish. So, and if I want to make the color a bit lighter, I'm going to reduce the canvas over here and you see how it looks. So that is it. So for the stroke, stroke is actually the airline of this edge. So I can increase the stroke. The stroke is already black, so let me see how I want to change it to white. You can see the stroke is so white already. So in case I want to change the color, I can change it to this color. The stroke is, in case you don't want to see it, you can press Ctrl and plus on window and you'll be able to see it's bigger. You zoom in and zoom out. So that is it for the properties. So we'll be talking more on properties that we're designing. So in order for you to get started first time on Figma, the first thing you have to do is make sure you sign up and you are in this environment. So now let's get started. So today I'm going to be teaching you some more important things that you must design in everyday life as a UI designer. So I'll be designing a splash screen, a start screen, and a login screen. That's what I'll be designing today to get you started on Figma. So this will be the first stage of the crash course. So let's get started. So the first thing we'll have to do is go to frame, click on frame, go to phone, select iPhone 14 Pro Max. You can zoom in a little bit. So well, this is cool. So the first thing we have to do is let's corner the radius. Over here we have corner the radius. Like you can set it so that all this edge will be curved. So I'm going to make it 15. So as you can see, I have it curved right now. So in case I want to increase the curve more, I can make it 21. So this is looking pink right now. So let's zoom in a little bit. This is too much. Yeah. So the next thing we have to do is okay, you can see it very well now. The next thing we have to do is to design our splash screen. So what we want to do is make sure you change the title of this. So we're going to make it splash screen, and splash screen is the first image you will definitely see first when you start an app. So I'm going to be changing the background of this to an image. So the first thing I'll have to do is go to fill, change it from solid to image. So I'm going to change the background of this to image. So I'm going to find some amazing image. I'll go to resources. These are just me. Okay, let me find some nice image. Okay, I think I have some stock images. Yeah, I have some stock images over here. So I want to make this lady my splash screen. So I'm just going to click on open, and this is it. So I can also colorize it and reduce the exposure. So let me reduce the exposure. So we have a little bit of black background, and that is it. So that is it for that. So in case I want to add a stroke, I can add a stroke and make the stroke white. So just to give it some nice look. So, and if I want to type on something here like welcome to this app, I can type that. And if I want to make this also a background color, I can change it to background color. So, but if you want to use an image for a splash screen, this eye is going to look. You understand? So now let me change it back to color instead of image. So we'll go back to solid. We'll choose orange color. So now I've changed it to orange color. As you can see, it's orange color now, but I can still customize this orange color. If I want to customize this orange color, I'll go back to the fill, change it from solid, then I'll change it to linear, so I can customize it. So I'll have two different colors I want to work on. So let's say I want to work on the second color, but I want it to be a light yellow, or something like this. Yeah, something like this. So I can either reduce the opacity or increase it, and I can come here and drag it up here or drag it down, or do like this and end up having something like this. So that's it for the linear. You can always use two color, which is gradients, but I don't think this color is nice. So let's change the color a little bit. Let's make it something like this. Yeah, deep orange. So that's it for the splash screen. So let's now say we want to type something in here. The first thing you have to do is go to your text and drop your text over here and write let's say banking RM's banking app. So in case you want to increase the fonts, all you just have to do is highlight everything and go over here. You'll be able to see the properties for the fonts. I'm going to change the font to 24. So 24. So this is what we're going to have for the 24 fonts, and you can also change the font face from Inter. I will advise you use Poppins or Urbanist. Well, we're going to be using Poppins over now. So we can change the font to 35, and this is good. So this is what we have for our text. You can also customize it for other things you want, but we're going to be leaving it like this. So we have RM's banking app. So you can also paste an image if you have a logo right now. But I'm going to be introducing you to what we call plugins. Plugins will make your life easy. So in order for you to get started with plugins, you right click on this environment, go to plugins, then you can find any plugin. So you can click on search plugins. Then the first thing I'll advise you to install is Font Awesome. So search Font Awesome, and you click on this, then you click on run. When you click on run, you have it in your system. So you'll be able to choose different type of fonts. So that's the first plugin we're going to work on. So in order to access that plugin, go over here, right click this area, go to plugins, Font Awesome icon, then it's going to pop up. So let's wait for it to pop up. It depends on your network. Go to plugins, so it has pop up right now. So you can choose a variety of different icons. So the first icon we're going to choose is banking. So I'm just going to find a money icon. So for this, I'm just going to choose this icon. So that is the icon I want to choose. You can also expand this icon. You can change it from this width and height. So I'm going to be making it 70 by 70. So that is it for the icon, and you can also customize the icon to any color you wish. So if I go back to fill right now, I can change the icon color to white. No, not this. Let me delete it and add it again. No, I don't need to do that. Let me delete this width. This is called width. So you put it here and change the color to white. So that is it. In case you want to increase it more, you can make it 120 by 120. So you end up having something like this. But this is not looking cool. You can do it manually. Let's increase the width. So let's say this is the logo of our banking app. So you have your start screen like this. So the next thing you have to do is your start screen. This is a splash screen. So for your start screen, you can duplicate this design if you want to still use the same background. So you tap on this and press Ctrl D on your keyboard. So when you have this, you have duplicate this design. So now you can change the title to start screen. I'm going to show you what we have on start screen. So for start screen, we can still have our logo, but we have some button. So I'm going to be working with button now, either sign up or start screen. I'm going to add some text first. You can also reuse your text, but I'm going to pick it from there and paste it here. Welcome back to RM's banking wallet. So I'm going to reduce the font to maybe 25. You have this, then you go to RM's bank. Then we will break it down. So you can highlight everything and make it centralized. Increase the fonts 30, and that is it. We have the first test. So the next thing we want to do is add a button. So in order for you to do a button, go to a rectangle, pick the rectangle. You can design it outside there. You can design the width as you wish. So let's see if this is cool. Let me drag it into our design to see if it's not too much. Okay. This is not too much. So let me reduce the width. Let me make it 200. So that's it for the width. So we can also customize our button. In order to customize our button, the first thing you have to do is curve the radius. So we can make it 25. You end up having something like this, but this is not curved enough, so I'll make it 30. So this is cool. I'll change the background also to maybe white. Yeah, this is cool. And I can also customize this button to have some effects like shadow. If I click on this, it's going to have a default shadow of black, so I can also customize the shadow. I can change the color of the shadow to be white, so I'll have some feel of this. So if I zoom in very well, you'll be able to see the shadow. See, you can see the shadow, right? So now I can duplicate this, Ctrl D, and move it to the right. Move it to the right. So we have two buttons right now. But in normal UI design, you can't design your stuff like this. So I'll endeavor you move one button to the top and you move one to the bottom. So in order to get a perfect shape, I'll advise you increase this to 350. So this is cool. So now all we have to do is add a text. But before then, let's duplicate this, Ctrl D, hold your shift key and bring it down. So you have two buttons. So you can change the color of this button. So let's say we're going to make use of green, something like this, or orange. Is it advisable to use orange? Let's use orange, then we'll work on our background of the app. I don't really like this background, so let's go back to our fill and change the color, the second color to be something like this. yeah, the second color is cool like this. So I'm going to copy the color. I'm going to replicate it over here. I'll go back to the start screen also and go to the linear, go to the second color and paste the new color I used. So yeah, this is cool. I think this is nice now. And now I can add our start screen. We can add the text, type here, and click on create an account. So that is it. You can put your text here. I think this is quite too big, so you can just make it 20. So this is cool. So you can duplicate this text now, Control D, and bring it down and type login. So this will be for login and this will be for create an account. You can also add an icon to this just by going to font also. You pick the icon and you put it there. So let's try and choose a font. So for the sign up, we'll have maybe an arrow, something like this. Arrow is not that far. So something like this. So you can duplicate this, Control D, and bring it down to the one over here. So you can change the color of this to white. You can also change the font color of this to white. So there's something we'll work on soon. This is the splash screen and this is the start screen. The third one we have to do is the chat area and the system area, the interface. So what we have to do is the interface of the design are different from the splash screen, but it might have some little design colors. So the first thing you have to do is duplicate this. So Control D, since I'm not duplicating it, yeah. So let's change it design to app home. So we want to design for the home of the app. So we're going to delete all this. You can just highlight all this like this and just delete everything. So we're going to change our background color to white. So we'll go back to this color area, change it to solid. And you can also design this home screen by just going to the frame and select iPhone 14 format just like this. It's going to be the same thing, but I just don't want to start all over afresh. I'm teaching you some shortcuts. So when you click on the app home, you go to fill, change it to white. So let's now say we still want to have some colors to this app home. So all you just have to do is can just bring some nice design. So I'm going to choose Eclipse. So I'm going to draw Eclipse like this. So I can put it into the design to have something like this. So I put it at this edge, so I can go back to my fill and change the color to this. So I can reduce the opacity of the color, so I'll still have something like this. So that is it for that. So after you have done that, we want to start designing for our interface of the app. So I'm just going to design some little stuff. So I'm going to be designing something we call a card. So go to rectangle. I'm going to be designing something like this. This is just a rough sketch. Let me zoom in. So now we can curve the edges of this stuff. So let me go back to the edge and make it 25. So as you can see, we curve the edge, and I can change this background to anything I wish. So I can change it to either this color or this color. So, but I don't want to use something like this. I would love to use something different. This isn't bad. So this is cool. So I'm going to type some information that I need, like wallet balance. So I'm going to type wallet balance. when you have this, you put it like this, wallet balance. You can format this text and change it to bold. You understand? So go to wallet balance and type the amounts, maybe in dollars. So type $4,500 .12 you know, something like this. And one interesting thing with formatting text is you can only format some particular size of text. So let's say I want to format only wallet balance, which is bold, and I want to deselect the amount to be normal one, so I'm going to change it back to regular. So it's only going to affect what I highlighted. So that is it for wallet balance. And you can also add a font or a icon from Font Awesome to this particular stuff. So let's add an icon. So you go to plugins, Font Awesome icon, and type wallet. So we're going to see something like this, wallet. No, I deleted it again. Let me change the color of the wallets. I think I need to delete this because of the network issue. So let me go back to plugins and Font Awesome, type wallet. So it has come up now. So let me delete this. I'll put the wallet icon here. I can also format the color, but I still like the black color like that. So let's now say I want to add a button under here. So I can go to this place and type and pick rectangle, the one here. So I can corner the radius to like 25 to have something like this. For the field, I can have a white color, then I'll have a text inside it saying add money or fund accounts. So it's currently bold. I can deselect it from bold to just regular, and we'll have something like this. And I can also reduce the font size to 15. So this is good, and that is it for the app home. So if in case you want to have some other things under here, you can always add it. So there's one important thing I would like you to know how to design, which is the app home screen, like the toolbar, the top bar. But you will not be designing that almost all the time because there's actually a UI kit for that. But I'll be designing the battery icon, the charging icon, and also the time. So I'm going to be designing. In order to do this, all you just have to do is right click this outside area, go to plugins, then Font Awesome icon, type battery. So you see battery icons. So by the time you type, let me change the background of my design to white. Okay, so now we have this. Let me change it to something like gray. White is too bright. Good. So now the next thing we have to add is Wi-Fi icon. Go to plugins, Font Awesome icon, then type Wi-Fi. Yeah, so after the Wi-Fi, you drag it down here. Figma has a tool that make you align things together. So you're going to see a line that, okay, these are aligned, fine. So the next one we have to do is go to plugins and type search for the network bar. Network. Where is the network bar? Cellular, I think. Network bar is being called. Let's just leave that. Let's go to timing. For you to get your timing, all you just have to do is type a text, drop it here. So let's type 14 o'clock. What is the current time now, Abby? Yeah. So we have it here, but we can also drag this down later. Good. So change the font 14 o'clock to black color. So highlight all this, Ctrl G, and bring it down here. So that is it for that. So let's take it out a little bit because I want to group it. I want to show you what group means. So I'll put it here. So for this also, I'll bring down my timing here. Everything is aligned now. So let me reduce the font of the timing. So let's make it 12. So this is good. These are aligned together. Okay, this is aligned now. So you can now group all this together. You can make this bold, Ctrl B, it will make it bold. So let me add some timing, PM. Yeah, this is good. So I can highlight from here down here, the right click. I click on it and say group selection. So when you group the selection, you can drag it down. So you end up having something like this. So you see, so this is how you design your toolbar, but you don't need to be designing this all the time. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you're going to see some list of UI items that you'll be using in your day-to-day design, like the toolbar, some buttons, some list of plugins that you need in your design, some icons that are very rare to see, some important things that you get to start in your UI design. But this is just a starting crash course on UI design for 2023 to anyone who does not have prior experience on design system. So you can watch my other video that I've created on UI design to learn how to design different type of UI. So I'll continue dropping some nice video on this channel. So if you learn something from this video, please click on the subscribe button if you have not subscribed, like this video and share it to help this channel out. I'll be dropping more interesting tech videos, tutorials and how-to videos. One love.